In the rarefied world of fashion, few names evoke as much flair as Versace. Indeed, this brand, so representative of hedonistic luxury, unapologetic glamour, and audacious creativity, has secured an enduring place on the global stage. Yet, beyond the iconic designs and gilded runways lies a complex tale steeped in family drama, tragedy, and a delicate balance of power. At the heart of this saga is Allegra Versace, an heiress to an inheritance of over $800 million who was thrust into a world of immense wealth and legacy, yet burdened by a deep reluctance to fully embrace her runway-filled destiny. Thus, in today's episode, we'll explore how after Allegra inherited a staggering 9-figure fortune at just 18 years old, her life has been defined not by the wealth and status that surrounded her, but a complex struggle with her mother and beyond, as we describe, when $800 million can't save an heiress, the Allegra Versace story. Allegra Versace Beck came into the world dripping in designer labels and generational wealth. Indeed, with a last name that practically screams fashion royalty, Allegra's path was already paved in silk and gold before she could even walk in high heels. Specifically, as the daughter of Donatella Versace, fashion's grande dame, and American model Paul Beck, Allegra is the niece to the legendary Gianni Versace. And that's the kind of gene pool the rest of us can only dream about. Now, at just 11 years old, life handed Allegra an inheritance most of us wouldn't even know how to spend in several lifetimes, as her late uncle Gianni, in his will, ensured that a cool 50% of the Versace empire became hers. Thus, by 2023, her wealth had ballooned to an eye-watering $900 million. Now, you'd think with that kind of cash and such a storied name, she'd be front row at every couture show and sipping champagne with the A-listers. But no, Allegra prefers the quiet life, shunning the spotlight her last name so effortlessly attracts. Apparently, she's the rare billionaire who doesn't scream it from the rooftops, opting instead for a quieter, more reserved existence miles away from the red carpets and paparazzi frenzy. Then there's Mother Donatella, the queen of reinvention herself. After Gianni's murder, she didn't just keep the Versace brand alive, she turned it into a global juggernaut, and as of 2024, she's sitting on a $400 million fortune. But in Mama's case, every penny of that is earned. Indeed, she's been the creative force driving Versace to new heights while also serving as the group's vice president. That kind of empire building is not for the faint of heart, but then again, neither is her lifestyle. Take Villa Mondadori, Donatella's 15,000 square foot playground perched beside Lake Maggiore. Purchased for a neat $5.6 million, it's the kind of home you could get lost in for days. 20 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, and enough space to throw the kind of lavish parties that have seen the likes of Walt Disney and Ernest Hemingway swanning around. Furthermore, its proximity to Lake Como, where Gianni once owned a villa, only adds another layer to the Versace family's deep-rooted connection to Italy, wealth, and style. And yet, with a mother living at that level of style and a personal net worth double that, you're probably wondering why Allegra Versace has opted to stay out of the limelight, in stark contrast to other family members. To get our answer, let's flip over to the next chapter and give you the broader, gold-gilded context. To fully grasp Allegra Versace's place within this unfolding story, we must explore the complex history of her uncle, Gianni Versace, the creative genius who reshaped the fashion world. Born on the 2nd of December 1946 in Reggio Calabria, Italy, Gianni was more than a designer. He was a creator of spectacle, a man who elevated fashion into an art form that embodied the excesses and glamour of an era. And his designs, daring and exuberant, adorned everyone from Hollywood superstars like Madonna and Princess Diana to European aristocracy, making the Versace label synonymous with luxury. But Gianni's rise in the fashion world began humbly, shaped by his early exposure to the craft through his mother, a dressmaker in their small town. This environment fostered Gianni's interest in fashion from a young age, as he spent much of his childhood surrounded by fabrics and the art of tailoring. Therefore, his mother played a significant role in shaping his understanding of the craft, instilling in him a deep appreciation for quality and detail that would later define his designs. Now, Gianni's sister, Donatella Versace, was born on the 2nd of May 1955 and shared a similar upbringing. Like Gianni, she was influenced by their mother's dressmaking business, and Donatella often described herself as the best-dressed little girl in the city, thanks to her brother's creations. Gianni would often make outfits for Donatella, and she became a key figure in his life, both personally and professionally. Thus, the bond between Gianni and Donatella was strong and dynamic. As children, Gianni would take Donatella out with him, even sneaking her to discos, much to their mother's dismay. This close relationship continued into adulthood, with Donatella becoming Gianni's muse and confidant. Therefore, when Gianni moved to Milan in 1972 to pursue his fashion career, Donatella frequently visited him, offering her insights and critiques as he established himself in the industry. Soon, Gianni's career took off in Milan, where his unique style quickly garnered attention, and by 1978 he launched his own brand, Versace, which became synonymous with luxury and bold design. There, his collections were known for their vibrant colors, daring prints, and innovative use of materials such as leather and metal, which challenged the conventional norms of fashion. Therefore, Versace's designs were not just clothing, they were artistic statements that celebrated individuality and self-expression. Soon, Donatella played a crucial role in the growth of the Versace brand. Initially working behind the scenes, she became more involved as Gianni's trusted advisor and muse, and her influence was instrumental in shaping the brand's image, particularly through her work on the Versaces line in the 1980s. Indeed, Donatella's flair for drama and celebrity connections helped elevate Versace's fashion shows into grand spectacles that blended art, music, and high fashion. Consequently, Versace creations weren't merely clothing, they were statements, and their fashion shows turned into dazzling theatrical events, blending art, celebrity, and music into a spectacle that captivated the world. Thus, at the height of his powers, Gianni was a fashion monarch, ruling from his lavish homes, including the now iconic Casa Casuarina in Miami Beach. Yet, it was outside this very mansion that Gianni's life was tragically cut short on the 15th of July, 1997. His murder sent shockwaves across the globe, and the glamorous world Gianni had constructed suddenly collapsed into grief. But his death wasn't just the end of a life, but a devastating blow to the fashion empire he had built, leaving his family reeling and unsure of how to preserve the legacy that had made him a household name. Casa Casuarina, once a monument to Gianni's success, quickly became forever linked to the tragedy that robbed the world of one of its brightest creative forces. In the aftermath, Donatella Versace, Gianni's younger sister, was thrust into the spotlight as the new creative head of the brand, while also grappling with raising an 11-year-old daughter named Allegra. In the wake of Gianni Versace's tragic death in 1997, Donatella Versace, his younger sister, faced the formidable challenge of taking over the creative reins of the iconic fashion brand. But having been a crucial part of Versace's creative process for years, Donatella was intimately familiar with the brand's aesthetic and ethos. Yet, stepping into her brother's shoes was anything but easy. The fashion world watched as Donatella navigated the precarious task of honoring Gianni's vision while infusing her own flair into the collections, a balance that would define her legacy. But Donatella wasn't alone in this transition. Her daughter, Allegra Versace, then just a child, was poised to play a critical role in the family empire. You see, Gianni had named Allegra as the heir to half of his massive fortune in his will, though she was only 11 years old when her uncle died, much too young to fully grasp the monumental future that awaited her. Yet, growing up in the shadow of one of fashion's most glamorous dynasties, Allegra's life was surrounded by both privilege and immense pressure. Regarding Allegra's parents, Mother Donatella married Paul Beck, a former Versace model, in 1983, and their marriage, although seemingly orchestrated by Gianni himself, intertwined deeply with the Versace family dynamics. Gianni was close to both Donatella and her husband, and while there were rumors that Gianni had a romantic interest in Beck, Beck denied any such relationship. Despite these rumors, Donatella and Paul Beck maintained a partnership both personally and professionally until their separation in 2000, by which time Beck had shifted into a role as a communications consultant for the company. Thus, Allegra's childhood was one of guarded privilege, growing up in the luxurious backdrop of Milan. She attended the British School of Milan, ensuring her education remained a priority despite the chaos surrounding her family. Yet it was evident from a young age that Allegra was a more private figure, in contrast to the public persona her mother cultivated. She later pursued studies at Brown University in Rhode Island and UCLA in California, diving into subjects such as French, art history, and theatre. This focus on academics and personal development underscored her desire to craft a life beyond the Versace brand. But, despite her efforts to carve out a quieter existence, the weight of Allegra's inheritance loomed large. At 18, Allegra officially inherited half of Gianni's estate, an eye-watering fortune estimated to be worth approximately $800 million. Literally, overnight, she became one of the wealthiest young women in the world. But with such an immense inheritance came heavy expectations, and Allegra's life remained deeply intertwined with the future of Versace. Now, despite this instant wealth and the significant role she was poised to play in the fashion world, Allegra chose a path far removed from the glitzy realm of fashion and celebrity that defined her family's legacy. Unlike her mother, Donatella Versace, who thrived in the limelight with her bold style and commanding presence, Allegra retreated into a quieter existence, focusing on her studies and maintaining a low profile. You see, Donatella, with her flamboyant persona, embraced the challenge of steering the Versace brand through the turbulent waters of a rapidly changing fashion industry. Under her stewardship, Versace not only survived but also reinvented itself, ensuring its place as a powerhouse in the fashion world. On the other side, the pressure of living up to a legacy as monumental as Gianni's took its toll on Allegra. As she grappled with the expectations placed upon her, she faced an internal conflict about whether she even wanted the role that came with her inheritance. This personal turmoil became publicly visible in the mid-2000s, when her battle with anorexia became widely known. Photographs of her frail figure sparked concern and speculation, and the media quickly turned her private pain into a very public ordeal. Furthermore, while Allegra Versace confronted her personal struggles, her mother, Donatella Versace, faced her own battles with substance abuse. Specifically, her addiction began in her early 30s, a time when the pressures of the fashion industry and the unexpected responsibility of leading the Versace brand after her brother Gianni's murder weighed heavily on her. Despite the chaos in her personal life, Donatella's professional triumphs were remarkable, as she successfully led the Versace brand through challenging times, ensuring its continued success and relevance in the fashion industry. Then, the turning point came in 2004, when Donatella checked into a rehabilitation facility following an intervention by her friend, Sir Elton John. This decision was crucial not only for her health, but also for the future of the Versace brand. Her willingness to confront her addiction was seen as a positive step towards stabilizing the company, which was dealing with financial difficulties at the time. Observers noted that her commitment to recovery could strengthen the brand, making it more attractive to potential partners and investors. Even more positively, at age 24, Allegra decided she was ready to help build the empire. She began participating in the operations of Gianni Versace S.p.A., eventually joining the board of directors in the year 2011. Little did the world know that the addition of Allegra would help propel the brand to unseen heights. In 2014, the Versace family made a significant move by selling a 20% stake in the company to the private equity firm Blackstone Group. The deal valued the fashion house at $1.4 billion, signaling a deliberate effort to fuel expansion and innovation. But this decision was not solely about securing financial backing. It was a carefully crafted strategy to amplify Versace's global influence. And the infusion of capital was intended to finance the opening of flagship stores in major cities across the globe and regain control over the brand's licensed products, which had grown to encompass a large segment of the business. This pivotal move allowed Versace to streamline its operations and strengthen its grip on its identity as a leading luxury brand. Despite the sale, Allegra and Donatella Versace held onto their stakes in the company, demonstrating their enduring dedication to maintaining control over the brand that had been a symbol of their family's legacy. And the results of the Blackstone partnership were striking. The brand saw a marked increase in its presence, establishing new flagship stores in key fashion capitals, such as New York, Paris, and Shanghai. These openings not only expanded Versace's footprint, but also solidified its position in the luxury sector, placing it in the heart of thriving fashion markets. Then in 2018, another transformative chapter unfolded for Versace when Michael Kors Holdings, which later rebranded as Capri Holdings, acquired the company for approximately $2.2 billion. This acquisition marked a historic turning point, offering Versace the opportunity to scale new heights under the management of a larger conglomerate. The decision to sell a majority stake in the company was thus meticulously weighed, as the family sought to balance the need for growth with the preservation of the Versace legacy. Importantly, Allegra, Donatella, and their family retained a substantial stake in Capri Holdings, ensuring they continued to have a significant influence over the brand's future. Therefore, this arrangement allowed them to remain at the helm of Versace's creative and strategic decisions, guiding its evolution while remaining faithful to its roots. Therefore, Allegra Versace's life, along with that of her mother, reflects the tension between immense wealth and personal challenges as she navigated the pressures of a legendary family name on her own terms. Her story isn't just about fashion or fortune, it's about finding balance in a world that never stops watching. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Were you aware of the story of Allegra Versace and her massive inheritance? We're always curious how many rabbit holes our fans go down when learning about wealthy families. We look forward to hearing from you, and thanks again for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury. Cheers, until